This is Cloud, and he's a pretty solid Smash character, sitting comfortably at the top of A tier. And this is all thanks to just one move. Cloud is notorious for his Bair, causing a lot of frustration in the community over the years. If you've ever faced against a decent Cloud or watched one on screen, you can understand where this years-long frustration comes from. This move has been used extensively by fan-favorite top player Spargo.
Almost completely uncontested. He goes for the drop.
Spargo is known for being the only Cloud main in the top 100 players. Spargo struggled and fought to get into this position, using all of Cloud's moveset, especially Bair. Not a single other Cloud player in the world has been able to replicate his success. But how? Does he have some kind of arcane knowledge about Cloud Bair that we don't? Well, yeah and no. As crazy as it may sound, there are levels to this one move. 3 levels in fact. And each one is necessary in order to get why this move is as good as it is. And how one player was able to master all of these to beat the best in the world. First, I'm gonna go over Cloud Bair on paper. This is to lay down the foundation for what I'll be talking about later. Then, I'm going to be talking about Cloud Bair on a larger scale. This includes interactions in the game, shield mechanics, as well as comparing it to similar moves to show just what makes it stand out above the rest. And finally, I'll be showing some use of it in tournament on the highest level of play and showing the more subtle top player mentality while using it. I'll be starting out with the frame startup, which simply refers to how many frames it takes for the hitbox of the move to come out. So Cloud Bair comes out on frame 11. And then the actual hitbox for back air is active for 2 frames. And everything after that is just the end of the move. Cloud Bair has 30 frames of end lag, which means that you have to wait for 30 frames before you're able to act again. After the 31st frame, you are actionable again. Actionable before landing simply refers to whether or not you're able to do any other move or action after doing the aerial and before landing. So for example, with Bair, you can actually jump or do something else before you land after using it with a full hop, but you can't do the same with fair or down air. What auto cancel means is that if you do short hop back air and then land, you won't have any landing lag and will be actionable as soon as you land. And with aerials that don't auto cancel, you'll be forced into landing lag and have to wait until that's over before you're actionable again. And that's what those colored boxes on ultimatefindata.com are referring to. Now, you may have noticed that I've actually skipped over the -3 on shield part. And trust me, I will go very into depth into this. But right now, I have another question for you. How much damage does Cloud Bair actually do? It varies. A back air from a full hop will do 16%, but that very same back air will only do 13% from a short hop. This has nothing to do with scaling. Simply put, short hop aerials have a 0.85 damage modifier applied to them, which makes them deal slightly less damage and knockback. You can see the difference for yourself. At low percents, Cloud can do back air to cross slash, a quick and easy 40% combo. At low to mid percents, Cloud can do back air to dash attack, which is a quick and reliable combo with a huge percent range to work with. At mid to high percents, you don't get anything too fancy, but it's still a great tool to put your opponents into disadvantage. At kill percents, back air becomes a really reliable kill option, sometimes beating out other kill options like dash attack, F-tilt, and fair. Even the weaker short hop version can beat out these moves thanks to its great angle and knockback scaling. So far we've covered how Cloud Bair is fast and strong, but what I haven't mentioned yet is just how safe the move is. And being as safe as it is what puts it above so many other aerials in the game. And it's also what allows for moments like these to happen.
I know the stocks and everything are even, but it just feels like T's been more in control outside of the first advantage of Spargo was juggling for a while.
Yeah, but again, sometimes you just need like a bunch of backers in your opponent's face because it does work.
Alright, but the 18th backer will work.
Yes, it will work, and this is due to its interaction with shield. Now there's two components I want to go over. There's out of shield, or the options you can do immediately after your shield gets hit, as well as frame advantage, or how many frames one is free to act while the other player is not. One important thing to note about out of shield options is that you're restricted on what actions you can do. So you can up smash, grab, up special, jump, this includes short hop and full hop, as well as any aerials out of shield. Then you can spot dodge, roll left, or roll right. But why not any other moves like down tilt or an F smash? This is because you are forced to drop your shield for any other move, which makes it so you have to endure 11 frames before you can act. So let me show you with a more realistic example, but first let's change characters.
Hands off my...
If you like the video so far, try to leave a like and comment for your feedback, I really appreciate it. Okay, back to video, thank you. When Cloud does F tilt on an opponent's shield, he's minus 16. What this means is that his opponent has a whopping 16 frames that he can act while Cloud is stuck in the animation and can't do anything. So if Cloud tries to F tilt up close on an opponent's shield, he can easily get punished with an out of shield option like grab. But what if you wanted to do jab instead? Well, first we have the 11 shield drop frames, then we have the 5 frame startup specifically for DK right here. Both of these together add up to 16 frames, which means DK can't punish Cloud because he has 0 frames of advantage, and they can both act at the exact same time. This is the reason why you see so many players do jump or up B out of shield, because of how reliable and fast they are.
I'll be at a shield now.
Something important to note is that when it comes to grounded moves like Cloud F tilt, their frame advantage will always be pretty consistent. However, when it comes to aerial moves like Cloud Bair, this frame advantage actually varies. So even though it says -3 on the ultimateframedata.com website, this may not be the actual frame advantage that Cloud gets. This is because it varies depending on how much distance there is between doing the move and touching the ground. So that's why you see so many players fast fall when they do their aerials. So even when using really safe moves like Cloud Bair, you still need to get a proper timing in order for it to continue to be safe. Right, but this still doesn't really explain what makes Cloud Bair so much better than other aerials. When it comes to a move being safe, it usually has one of two aspects, whether it's be disjointed, like a sword, or it gives good frame advantage, meaning it has really low in lag and can be spammed. Disjoints are great because they keep your hurtbox far away from the opponent's hitbox. However, due to the bad frame advantage that most of these ranged moves have, they have to be spaced properly in order to avoid a punish. And moves with good frame advantage can be used up close and still be relatively safe. Some moves like Mario Bair even have better frame advantage than Cloud Bair. And he can also do 2 back airs in the same short hop. So what exactly makes this move not as good as Cloud Bair? It's because it's not disjointed, and Mario's hurtbox is still exposed and can still be hit out of. This makes it inherently risky to use against disjoints or swords, because you're still putting yourself in harm's way. It's also not uncommon to trade hits with other moves, even if they aren't disjointed. So while other safe aerials might have good disjoints or give good frame advantage, Cloud Bair is special in that it gives both of them, which is relatively rare for a move to have. But now, let's show how the best player in the world actually uses this move in the highest level of play.
Not only doing your typical juggle from Game & Watch, but how do you augment that? How do you adjust where you're pushing your opponent off stage?
Oh my! Real question was, who can stop him? And at this point, I don't know if there's anyone left in the bracket that can. Down air, Chef Spark!
Now, you don't need me to tell you how good Spargo is. But what I can tell you is that Spargo takes one step ahead when using Bair. See, he doesn't just think, well, I hope back air hits. He also thinks, well, what if my back air doesn't hit? Can I take advantage of that? which he can and does. Now when Cloud Bair whiffs, this is usually no big deal because most of the time, Cloud will still be safe thanks to what we've talked about previously. However, when it hits an opponent's shield, that's when it gets interesting, because now the opponent is trapped. So even though they still technically have the frame advantage, Cloud has the upper hand. Let me show you what I mean. Before I do, remember that when an opponent is shielding, they only have limited options that they can do out of shield. And it's these options that Spargo is looking out for. And note that the opponent can't just keep holding shield because he'll just leave them in place and make them susceptible to a shield poke.
Not interested.
At the start of this match, Spargo lands with a Bair. Gluttony tries to grab, but Spargo is ready with a spot dodge. And punishes with a cross slash, which is plenty of damage. You can actually see Glutto be a bit frustrated for trying to punish Cloud Bair with his grab. This exact same thing happens against Shuton here. Here, Spargo tries to go for a Bair, but it whiffs. Skye tries to grab in return, but it also misses. Noting this and feeling pressured, Skye rolls in, which Spargo is ready for. And he punishes this by up smashing, which secures the stock. Here, Spargo does Bair against Shattuck, and noting how far away he is, he decides to do an F tilt, which is safe from this distance. However, knowing that Shattuck is most likely going to jump, he does up tilt to cover that option. Here, Spargo does back air to cover Kurama on ledge, but he's too late, and Kurama is able to roll in before the back air comes out. However, Spargo is able to get out a jab before Kurama is able to get out any kind of punish. Let's do a slightly different one. Here Spargo is fast falling, and Tweak is trying to recover from his down tilt. What do you think Spargo is going to do? And what do you think Tweak will do? You may think that it's obvious that Spargo is just going to back air due to everything we've gone over. But what if he didn't? This is called a tomahawk grab, and is precisely what Spargo uses to catch players off guard. So while Tweak shields thinking that Spargo is going to Bair, Spargo takes this into note and goes for a grab instead, adding yet another level of depth that the opponent has to worry about. The same idea applies here, making the stress of Cloud back air something that can be exploited to get an edge. Here, Shuton tries to hit Spargo with an air, but he's just barely outside of range and Spargo counters with a back air. Spargo then goes in with a dash grab, knowing that Shuton was most likely going to shield. After that, Spargo is able to catch Shuton's jump out of shield with another back air, and then he actually catches another jumping out of shield with further air, which leads to this.
Now it's time for the
combo.
shine.
This
The
is Super
active
Saiyan
frames.
Super Saiyan percent from Spargo.
So, those are some examples of back air being used by the best player in the world. I hope I was able to explain and demonstrate how the idea of a move can sometimes be just as scary as the move itself, and what can be done when a move is used to its fullest potential. Now there is one last thing I wanted to cover. Is there a way to counter or beat this move? Well, it depends. You may think you can just parry back air, but this is much easier said than done. When you parry Cloud back air, it does give you more time to punish him, and while there are occasions where it will work in your favor, there are many others where the punish is just not guaranteed. Like here. To punish a back air being done in neutral, you need really exceptional spacing, and even that can be unreliable, making it a huge risk to try to beat outright. This makes it so you have to always be on your toes when it comes to dealing with Cloud back air. This is of course assuming that Cloud will even go for back air, and not something else. Not to mention the high risk of missing a parry. Depending on the situation, it can be all or nothing, so that's why a lot of players opt to do something else. So this is why you'll sometimes see a player parry a move and then not do anything right afterwards, because it can also be risky. So it looks like if you want to punish Cloud back air, you not only have to know whether Cloud will actually do the back air, but also have the timing for your parry, shield, or punish right, so that you're able to get something off of it. With all these factors to look out for all at the same time, it's no wonder why Cloud Bair is so notorious as it is. You'd have to be some sort of mastermind in order to be able to keep track of all of this at once. And it wouldn't hurt to get a little help from a mechanic that your character has. But maybe, just maybe, there is a player out there good enough to get all of these reliably and make a difference.